Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on The Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. So summertime, getting ready for the fall, and Labor Day is the time when a lot of people think about starting new jobs, or at least looking for new jobs. So I thought I'd invite Michot, who is the VP Business Development for a recruiting company by the name of Hollingsgate, onto our show to talk about what you got to do, from an interview standpoint, what you got to do from a job looking standpoint, from a resume standpoint, how you network, and how you think about getting a job. Maria, how are you? Welcome to our show.
Good, Brian. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, what is Hollingsgate? You are a IT recruiting company, I understand?
Yes, we are. So Hollingsgate Workforce Solutions was founded by Patricia DiGaspero. She's been in the business for over 20 years, and technology staffing is our niche.
Excellent. But we're going to talk about jobs applicable to any type of a job, looking for a job for any kind of a job.
Absolutely.
So lots of people think that COVID-19 was a tough time to look for a job, but the workforce is opening up, right?
Oh, fantastic. Right now is the best time to be looking for a job.
Best time.
I say we are so busy. We're in the technology field. We can't live without technology, but other sectors are opening up, and the job market is opening up again.
So if I'm thinking about a job sort of in the fall, post-Labor Day, is now the time to start thinking about it?
I would say right now is a good time to start looking for a job.
Okay, so if I'm looking for a job, what are the steps? People are saying you got to network before you need that network, and so start connecting with people before you want to look for the job. You got to, update your resume, you got to get on LinkedIn. What are some of the things that you would recommend someone thinking about doing?
Absolutely. First and foremost, update your resume.
Right.
Ensure that, it's up to date. Careful, be mindful of spelling errors and even grammar.
Yeah.
As you're hunting for a new job, you're always revising your resume, and sometimes we overlook the grammar and then tenses, present to past tense, whatnot.
It may sound dumb, but I've gone through, just in the last week, probably 100 resumes. And you notice that stuff. If it's spelt wrong, it jumps out at you.
Yes.
And you go, this person's got an MBA, they think they can be really successful with my company, and yet they're going to present themselves spelling this thing wrong?
Right. So you want to avoid that as a job seeker. Avoid that. Take some time and proofread your resume.
Proofread it. I get inundated by these, resume, we'll look at your resume, emails and things like that. Do you recommend getting someone outside to not only proofread, but to review and edit?
I would,
really?
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Even ask a friend.
Okay.
But
what about these professional resume companies? Is it worth it?
Absolutely. I mean, myself, I usually would speak to the candidate, or one of our recruiters would speak to the candidate, and I would take a look at the resume and to ensure that there are no spelling errors prior to presenting them to my client. And also, I highly recommend as well, if you were to be applying for a job on your own through a company career portal, the software, their internal HR software, will pick up the typos and errors on your resume, and automatically your resume will be rejected.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting. So that the software rejects you if your typos are wrong.
Yes.
What about people ask about unexplained gaps in your resume? What do you recommend people do if they've got a couple of months or a couple of years where they weren't working between jobs or whatnot?
I always recommend to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, because we'll always find out the gaps. If you were to be creative and fill in the gaps, we will find out.
Right. And so don't lie. Be as honest.
Be as honest as. Yes, I highly recommend that. Yes.
Okay, so resume, update your resume, number one. Number two, what?
Update your LinkedIn profile.
Update LinkedIn profile.
Yes, and reach out to your network. As well, if you want to be take the initiative, I would reach out to hiring managers as well, connect with them on LinkedIn.
So number 1 is resume, number 2 is LinkedIn profile, number 3 is reach out to your network, number 4 is reach out to hiring managers.
Absolutely.
So someone told me that you don't get a great job through the front door, you get it through the back door. In other words, you've got to know someone. Is that true?
Networking helps, for sure. Or like reach out to a recruitment company. Generally, if my client has an open requisition and they're having a challenge filling it, I would go into LinkedIn and conduct my Boolean search. And
what's a Boolean search?
It's a word search. It's like a coded word search to pick up all the keywords and
so you put
buzzwords.
in like MBA, CPA, 5 to 10 years experience, something like that, right?
Yes, the title, and that will pull up all the profiles. It could be 10 or 10,000, and you work from there.
So you're going into LinkedIn and actually searching for people rather than posting an ad and waiting for the resumes to come.
Yes, exactly.
Really? That's interesting. Why do you do that?
It's more accurate, I would find, and when I'm partnered with a company who's required our support with their hiring initiative, I understand completely what the profile they are looking for.
Yep.
And I would conduct the search and reach out to these
So what that
the
suggests is
candidates.
you got to keep your LinkedIn profile up to date, even when you're not looking for a job, just in case someone is looking for you.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you could be comfortable in your career, the same company for 5 years, and perhaps you're looking for a change, but you want to keep that confidential, right? And if I were to call you up and say, hey, Brian,
Are you thinking?
Why not?
I always get these emails, do you know someone, Brian? And I figure they're not actually asking me if I know someone, they're asking me if I would be interested. Is that the code from recruiters?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes. Just to keep, things confidential as well.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple questions about things. Pictures on resumes or not?
No.
No pictures on a
No
resume?
pictures on resumes.
Really?
Yes.
Because that was the trend a couple of years ago. Everyone had a picture on a resume.
It's not necessary.
Not necessary or bad form today?
It's not, I would say it's in bad form.
Really?
Yes.
But on LinkedIn, all the pictures are there, or
Yes.
most of the people have pictures.
Yes.
And I had a recruiter that sent me a bunch of candidates with a hot link in the spreadsheet to the LinkedIn profile, and I just I'd read their summary and then I'd go straight to the LinkedIn profile and up would pop the picture.
Right. So you can put a name to a face.
Yeah. But you're still
Always.
recommending no pictures.
No pictures on your resume.
Okay, and then other people talk about right at the top you got to have sort of a statement of what you want, rather than going right into the chronology. Is that something you'd recommend?
You can provide an introduction, a summary, and what your goals are. That always helps as an introduction. Cover letters are so passé. It also depends.
Cover letters are passé.
Yeah, it also depends on the type of, the line of position that you're applying for. So if you were in communications, absolutely, that applies.
You gotta
That's
have a cover
applicable.
letter.
Yeah, that's applicable.
I still like cover letters. Cover letters where someone has looked at the job description or the ad or whatnot and has actually thought about why they're relevant and why they're right for the job. That's interesting
Yeah.
that you say you're not. Anyway, we're going to take a break. Maria, just for a second, for some messages. We're going to come back in a minute. We've talked about how to look for the job. Now we're going to talk and switch to how to get the job and focus really on interviewing. Stay with us.
This past year, we've learned what really matters in our lives. And what government does or doesn't do also matters. We've seen bad choices with devastating consequences. Imagine instead a premier that chooses you, who protects workers, who stands up for local businesses, not big box stores, who instead of cutting, invests in healthcare and our kids. That's what matters to me.
बैंक ऑफ पंजाब लाया पाकिस्तान का पहला मुकम्मल फ्री रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट, जिससे आपको मिले मोबाइल ऐप, दुनिया भर में डेबिट कार्ड की फ्री डिलीवरी और बिना चार्जेस के इस्तेमाल की सहूलत, नया पाकिस्तान सर्टिफिकेट, स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्टमेंट का मौका, ऑटो लोन और ऑनलाइन यूटिलिटी बिल्स जैसी बेशुमार सहूलियात। अभी www.bop.com.pk पर ऑनलाइन रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट फॉर्म फिल कीजिए और पाइए एक्सीलेंस यूनिट के जरिए 24 घंटे डेडिकेटेड सर्विसेज। बैंक ऑफ पंजाब, रखे हर फर्द का ख्याल।
ओंटारियो का कोविड-19 प्लान फैलाव को रोकने और जिंदगियां बचाने में मदद फराहम कर रहा है। जब तक हम सबको वैक्सीन नहीं लग जाती, मास्क पहनें, अपने हाथ धोएं और फासला रखें। हम अब तक इकट्ठे चलते रहे हैं और पूरे ओंटारियो में रोजाना हजारों लोग वैक्सीन लगवा रहे हैं। आपकी बारी जल्द आने वाली है। ओंटारियो के वैक्सीन प्लान के बारे में मजीद जानें। अदायगी शुदा मिन जानिब हुकूमत ओंटारियो।
Century 21 Kingdom Realty. We take delight in helping people succeed whether they are our clients or agents. Worldwide recognized brand, game-changing technology, state-of-the-art marketing, industry-leading training, stunning office, great location, great commission splits, first access to pre-construction projects.
If you want to be even more successful in your real estate career, join the Century 21 Kingdom Realty.
To join our team, call 416-560-9559 or visit our website www.jointhekingdom.ca. Century 21 Kingdom Realty, 1099 Kingston Road, Pickering, Unit Number 2, Ontario.
Buying or selling a residential or commercial property is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will make in their life. The real estate lawyers at Olam Law Chambers will guide you through the complete real estate laws to ensure your transaction completes on time and your dreams come true. Reliable and affordable. Olam Law.
Was your family or business prepared for this financial crisis? Want to learn how I prepare my clients with the essential financial planning pyramid for any financial crisis come their way? Hello, this is Zahid Sayed from Arooj Financial. For your complimentary Zoom or Skype meeting, call my office at 905-624-0008 or visit aroojfinancial.com.
Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on the Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. We're talking about looking for and getting a job. You know, summertime is the right time, a lot of people think, to get ready for that fall season and look for that new job. We're joined by Michot of Hollingsgate, VP Business Development for Hollingsgate Recruiting Services tonight. And she says that the job market is opening up and people, you know, post-COVID are actually looking to hire now. That's great news.
Yes, especially in technology. It's a candidate's market.
Really? A candidate's market?
Yes.
Well, that's good news because everyone's been worried about how the economy is going to come back. So we've talked about resumes and we've talked about LinkedIn. Interviews, obviously, still important?
Very important. So,
and you know, is it phone interviews? Is it Zoom interviews? Is it real life interviews, or is all of the above?
So, you know, during the pandemic, it's just been the remote virtual phone interviews. And I tell all my candidates, you know, when you're selected for an interview, ensure that your technology, your internet is working properly.
Yep.
Make sure that you're in a quiet space and you look presentable as if you are walking into a face-to-face interview.
You
Always
mean
look
no sweatshirt,
professional.
no sweatpants?
No, you have to look professional. Ensure that you're presentable.
Right.
Yes. And
What about a tie for men?
absolutely. I highly recommend that.
So even if you're at home, put on the tie and
Yes,
a jacket?
and a jacket. Put on your suit, even if it's only a 30-minute interview.
Okay. So first impressions are important even on Zoom,
Yes.
is what you're saying, or,
Yes.
or Microsoft Teams or whatever it is that we're using. Okay.
Yes.
And then what are some interview rules that you have?
Always research the company that you are going in for an interview for. Look at the team. Do some research on the hiring manager that you're having an interview with. Always also go over the interview questions that you can always Google online. They could be behavioral type questions, scenario type questions.
Sorry, what type of questions?
Scenario type questions.
Scenario, what's that?
You may be asked, so tell me a time when you had a difficult situation at work and how were you to resolve it?
Okay, scenarios,
Yeah,
gotcha.
scenario. Or what would you say would be your weak point? Always turn it around.
That always get asked.
Always turn it into positive. Say something like, I tend to overfocus and forget to eat my lunch. Turn it into the positive.
I work so hard, I just can't stop working. I'm just terrible at that.
Always, when you're asked a question, go straight to the point.
Right.
Yes. And just, feel confident. Feel
Confident?
that you own this
Right.
job. Yes.
Humor?
You can gauge during the interview.
Right.
Yes, you can gauge. It depends.
Okay.
And always follow up with a thank you note.
Really? That's important. That's interesting.
Yes.
I like that. So, one of the things that I've always recommended, and some of these sounds like you agree with, I always tell people, check out the person you're going to be talking to on LinkedIn. So that's your, check out the hiring manager, and know, how long they've been at the company, what schools did they go to, and try to make a connection. Oh, I know that you went to blah, blah, blah school. I did too, or my father did, or blah, blah, so some connection. Or, I saw that on LinkedIn you posted something about a book that you read. That's absolutely fascinating. So look at their LinkedIn and think about something relevant to say. So that I think is really important. The other thing that you said that I really like is research the company. I can't tell you how many people I interview that don't know anything about the company. They don't know it, and it's like, how dumb to tell people that you're good and you deserve to be hired by this company, but I haven't even spent the 10 minutes to figure out what your company is all about. Like it's absurd.
Right.
And then they always ask, I think at the end of an interview, have you got any questions for us? So you got to have a couple of questions for them.
Yeah.
What are the questions? If I asked, if you were the candidate and I said, have you got any questions for us? What would be the typical questions you would think about asking in return?
I would pose a question, what is your projected growth?
Yeah, good.
For your company, what are your plans? How would you like to expand your team? And maybe something on a more personal note, what makes you motivated to come to work every morning?
Great questions.
What
Good
makes
questions.
you happy?
Okay, so we've talked about updating your resume, updating your LinkedIn, starting to network with the hiring manager. We've talked about interviews and first impressions count.
Yes.
People supposedly make their decision on whether you're trustworthy or not within the first 10 seconds of looking at you. It's
Right.
absurd that those decisions get made so quickly. You've talked about following up afterwards.
Yes.
What next?
I would, one more pointer I forgot to mention, social media.
Yep.
Keep it clean and presentable.
I had this person come in and ask me for some advice. They said, I'd like you to be my mentor and help me get a job in HR. And then I looked at her Facebook account. There wasn't one picture of her in her Facebook without a drink in her hand. And usually she was a little bit queasy and slosh looking. Like, I'm not going to hire an HR person that is a party girl nonstop. Like, I'm just not. Is that wrong of me?
No, you have a point there, Brian.
So people Google your social media. They
Yes.
Google your Facebook, they Google your Instagram, they Google your Twitter.
There's always a way in, even if you have it on private setting. There's always a way in.
They figure out a way. Okay. So it's the old line, if you didn't want to see it on the front page of the newspaper,
Exactly.
don't post it.
Exactly.
Okay. So clean up your social media. Any other suggestions?
Always, ensure that your resume is compared exactly the same as your LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a match of your experience.
Oh, really? Okay. So
Yes.
make them consistent.
They have to be consistent.
So
Sometimes
someone
that
like
could
you is
be
going to
overlooked.
check the consistency between the two.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. I think one of the most important things to do is to network, and I do think that a lot of people get jobs not necessarily through the back door, but because someone recommends you. And actually, we haven't talked about that. Reference letters and recommendations. Is that important today?
Recommendations could be helpful, but always have your references readily available in the event that you are awarded an offer.
Yeah. And thank the people that gave you the references. A lot of
Yes.
people forget to thank the people that gave you
Yes.
the references. So but the networking, I think, is key. So how do you go about networking for a job? Do you say, I'm thinking about changing a job? Do you know anybody that's looking? Or what do you do to network?
You can join groups on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Networking groups could be project management group, could be the or business development group of Canada. There's endless groups on LinkedIn that you can join and network. It's the best way to get your name in front of the industry, like industry leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And also joining conferences is a great way to network as well.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining us tonight and telling us a little bit about the hiring process and what to do to get ready to look for the job and then hopefully get the job. And I really
pleasure.
appreciate you joining us.
It was a pleasure, Brian. Thank you
So
so
that's
much.
Maria Michot, the VP of Business Development for Hollians Gate, telling us a little bit about how to get a job. So if you're out looking for a job, good luck, because you know what? The future is going to be, I think, starting as soon as we're all vaccinated and we're all going back to work. It's going to be spectacular. So get that job, get your new opportunity. Good night, everybody.